Fayetteville. But again, northwest of Fayetteville, here in northwest Lincoln County, particularly the community of Boones Hill, this is going to be tracking in your direction. So do want to encourage you to at least be keeping an eye on this. If not, maybe just going ahead and heading to your tornado safe place for, again, the possibility we may get a tornado warning issued for Lincoln County. For now, that warning only is for Giles County there in southern Middle Tennessee. A couple pieces of information we're going to take a look at here using our live radar out of Decatur, picking up on this storm as well, showing that same hook shape. This is getting ready to cross. In fact, it is in the process of crossing I-65 right now. If you do know someone traveling here in Giles County on 65, either coming south from Nashville or north from Alabama, you might just want to tell them, hey, hold on. Might want to pull off to the side of the road until this storm has completely cleared Interstate 65, as again, it's possible this could produce a tornado. That's looking at the rainfall. This is a look at the wind velocity, and just a reminder of the colors, what they mean. Green is towards the radar, red is away, and you do see that rotation showing up very close to I-65. Again, this is using our live radar out of the Decatur area. We have that in downtown Decatur scanning this storm. Again, seeing that area rotation getting ready to cross I-65, and as it travels north and east, that is going to bring it into northwestern Lincoln County for you folks around the Boones Hill area. We can also take a look here with our live radar and see if there's any sort of debris showing up, which would indicate something on the ground. I don't really see anything coincident with where we have the area rotation that would indicate something on the ground. But again, this is something that we are monitoring. There you see the National Weather Service radar. Let me put it back on ours as we just got a little new scan update here. And again, still seeing that area rotation going right across I-65 near Bunker Hill. Again, this is in Giles County, Tennessee. If you are towards Boones Hill in northwestern Lincoln County, Tennessee, this is traveling in your direction. Again, this is not going to be something that you folks in the Fayetteville area are going to see, but it is going to be moving across that northwestern corner of Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee. And here we go. Tornado warning just coming out now from the Huntsville National Weather Service office. Includes Lincoln and Moore counties here in southern Middle Tennessee. So again, it is for this storm that we are tracking both with the National Weather Service radar and our live radar out of Decatur. Again, the rotation showing up around Bunker Hill, and this will be traveling across northwestern parts of Lincoln County here in southern Middle Tennessee. So let's get you back in here and track this all out. I'll pull up the Weather Service radar out of Jackson County. And again, circulation going right over 65 right now. There's Frank Ewing, Woodrow, and again, farther down the line, Boones Hill. Want you in your tornado shelter in these areas for, again, possibility of a tornado out of this storm. I'll expand the view here. You can see what the warning area encompasses. It's pretty large. It does include you folks in Fayetteville, but again, unless this storm really takes a hard right turn, it's mostly been moving northeast here in the last little bit. Now, when these storms start to spin a little bit more, yes, they do tend to turn to the right, but I'm not quite sure, given the close proximity to Fayetteville, if it's going to have time to turn enough to threaten Fayetteville. So if you're in Fayetteville, you may have got an alert. There may be sirens going off in the area as well, but it would appear that this storm is probably going to stay just a little north and northwest of Fayetteville. But in particular, if you are in Boones Hill, I want you to head to your tornado safe place. That's going to be the lowest level of the building that you're in, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you're in your home, interior bathroom, interior closet, interior hallway, going to give you the best protection. So I need you to head there. If you happen to lose power, we'll continue our live streaming on our news and weather app, so you can continue to get information there even if you aren't able to see us on television. Let me track this out, and Amber, I'll just ask you real quick, what's the motion on this? Is it still around 25 miles per hour?
The National Weather Service said it is moving around 30 miles per hour.
Around 30. Okay, so let me make an adjustment here on that, and then we are going to track this out for you. So again, this is moving off to the east northeast around 30 miles per hour. Again, the most dangerous part of the storm, crossing I-65. I really think the tornado threat is going to stay off to the north of you folks in Fayetteville. But if you are in northern and northwestern Lincoln County, you need to be headed to your tornado safe place. Woodrow coming in within the next 3 minutes. Boones Hill, this will be moving in around 2:37. The Howell area and Bellevue between about 2:50 and 3 o'clock this afternoon. Again, Fayetteville, yes, officially you are drawn in the tornado warning, but I think the storm is probably going to miss you just to the north unless it takes a hard right turn, and we will be monitoring that closely with this particular thunderstorm. But again, if you are in northern Lincoln County, I want you to head to your tornado safe place. Most likely track is going to take this through the Boones Hill area towards Belleville and the Howell area, again north of Fayetteville across northern parts of Lincoln County here in southern Middle Tennessee. It may continue on into Moore County as well. That's just outside of our coverage area. But again, if you're in northern Lincoln County, I want you to head to your tornado safe place at this time with this storm moving on through. Again, we've got a couple radar views that we can use here. This is the National Weather Service radar. I am going to show you what our live radar out of Decatur looks like. That was actually our first indication that we may have something developing rotation-wise. We first saw the shape of it, and then when we checked the wind velocity, we saw there was circulation showing up. Looks like this is now a little east of I-65. Let me show you what the wind velocities are looking like right now. Not quite as well defined. We're going to get a scan update coming around with the live sweep. And still, again, it's east of 65. Very subtle. Got one green pixel here. Again, that's wind blowing towards the radar indicator. The reds are blowing away, so there's your rotation right on the Giles, Lincoln County line here for southern Middle Tennessee. And again, this has continued to track its way mostly towards Boones Hill. Again, if you're in Fayetteville, close, but very likely this is going to pass just a little bit to the north. We'll focus in a little closer here, kind of pinpoint where we got the circulation. This is just a little east of Bunker Hill, so this has cleared I-65 now, so no longer a threat there on the interstate. This is the county line going from Giles and on into Lincoln County here in southern Middle Tennessee. Fairly rural out in this area. Let's focus in a little closer. I'm not even sure we're going to pick up any roads out here. Might take them a moment to load if there are. But again, right here on the county line heading into northwestern parts of Lincoln County. This is the latest scan update, again, using our live radar out of Decatur. We've kind of lost a little bit of that green color here in the latest scan, but it may come back in the next one. But hopefully that may be a good sign with this storm. Keep in mind this storm has a history of rotation and a history of producing a tornado. It appears a tornado was produced very close to the Cherokee area towards Waterloo in parts of Colbert and into Lauderdale County there. One picture that I saw that we don't have permission to share that with you, but I did see it looked like it was maybe going over the Tennessee River earlier. So again, this storm does at least have a history of having produced a tornado. This is the latest update from National Weather Service radar. Again, you see where Fayetteville is. The storm moving east-northeast. It'll be close, but if it does continue on the track it has been taking, may stay just north of Fayetteville. So in particular, again, Boones Hill to Belleville, I do want you in your tornado safe place. Fayetteville, just keep an eye on it, and we're going to continue to do the same. Now let's kind of show you the bigger picture here of what we've got going on. This is going to be the water view. And if you were watching our coverage earlier, I said this is the only thing of any significance. That is still the case for the most part here in North Alabama. We've had a couple other little showers that have tried to develop. Nothing has really been able to stick, so that's some good news. It looks like there is a severe warning storm here in western Tennessee near Jackson. But that will be staying around the Interstate 40 corridor in that part of Middle Tennessee, perhaps heading towards the Nashville area. And there are some other showers, again, trying to develop back out here towards the state line into northeast Mississippi. We've been kind of seeing this, but again, they're, at least for now, they're having trouble really developing. And we hope that that'll continue to be the case. Unfortunately, don't think that will be the case as we head through the rest of this afternoon. But this storm is persisting here, again, heading from Giles County on into Lincoln County, southern middle Tennessee. And again, a tornado warning is currently in effect. It does include the Fayetteville area, although this storm may just stay just a little north of Fayetteville. And what we may have going on, if you've been watching since this morning, keeping an eye on the weather, and hopefully if you're watching now, it's because you are invested in staying up to date with the weather. You know that we did have some thunderstorm activity very early this morning, kind of fell apart as it hit the state line, but what we may be seeing, especially with this storm that is persisting and the only one, there may be some little boundary here, what we call an outflow boundary. Those are generated by the rain-cooled air. You know, when you get a thunderstorm, the temperature drops. Well, when you have enough thunderstorms, it can create these boundaries, almost like mini cold fronts. And it's possible that what this storm is doing is it's kind of riding along that boundary. If you were watching the radar earlier, again, the storms kind of died when they hit the state line, but did persist through areas of Middle Tennessee. So we may be looking from the shoals here back into southern Tennessee, some little boundary kind of left over from that earlier day thunderstorm activity. And it's possible this storm is kind of riding right along that boundary. And
Jeff,
sometimes when that happens, that can enhance the spin just a little bit. Yeah, Amber, go ahead.
it looks like the National Weather Service said that we do have a tornado watch coming out in just a minute for all of the viewing area, and that will run until 10 p.m. tonight.
Okay, and we were kind of anticipating that that was something that was going to happen. In fact, I put something on social media a short time ago that a watch was likely forthcoming here in the next hour or two. Again, this is the only storm that is of significance at the moment. So let's get you back in here, and we're going to take a look at some of the latest radar data. Again, the storm is now within Lincoln County only. It is out of Giles County. Again, it's tracking towards Boones Hill. Going to be close to basically paralleling Highway 64, US 64 here in Lincoln County. So again, Boones Hill, need you in your shelter. Fayetteville, it's going to be a close call. Let me just go back in time here and let's see how this is moving. It's been mostly moving northeast. Looks like still for the most part that is the track. So unless this turns to the right, which sometimes these rotating storms will do that, particularly if the rotation is strong enough, that may bring it a little closer to Fayetteville. But as it stands right now, I'll put the track on here. I'll even bring it a little bit more south than what we had been drawing it, but even at that, it still stays just north of town. So this is the track coming into Boones Hill within about the next 5 or 6 minutes, into the Howell area there in Lincoln County, 252, Belleville around 3 o'clock, Mulberry, which is there in the northeast corner of Lincoln County, 309, and Lynchburg, which is in Moore County, not included in the tornado warning. But if this storm maintains itself and we do get an extension of this warning deeper into Moore County, it would be arriving in the Lynchburg area, it looks like around 3:20. Your current time right now is right around 2:30. So this would be still almost an hour out from making it to Lynchburg there in southern Middle Tennessee if it continues to maintain itself. All right, so that's the track. Let me show you some of the radar data. What we're looking at now, this is the precipitation depiction. Heavy rainfall, maybe some hail in this. I'll check that out in just a second. But let's take a look here first at the wind velocities in the storm. Still seeing a little rotation showing up here. Green is toward the radar. This is the radar out of Jackson County at high top. Reds are away. So a little circulation showing up here, again, just south of US 64, outside of Boones Hill. Focus in a little closer. Again, this is a fairly rural area. But if you are in Boones Hill, I want you headed to your tornado safe place if you are not already doing that. This is our live radar out of Decatur. It's going to look a little bit different. It's a different radar, so the view looks a little different. But again, showing the heavy rainfall and the lightning. That's the precipitation depiction. And then here is the wind velocity. And we're still seeing, again, some signs of rotation here. The greens are away, the reds are toward. If I had to pinpoint where the rotation is, I'd say it is on this southern flank of the storm, southwest of Boones Hill, and again tracking its way northeast. So Boones Hill, once you're in your shelter, over here to the east along Pulaski Highway, again north of Fayetteville is where this is most likely going to be tracking as we head through the next 30 minutes or so. And again, there you saw the latest scan update. Still seeing the rotation showing up here, green toward, red away, counterclockwise, which is what we expect. Again, just near and southwest of Boones Hill, a little north of West, I don't know, Cyruston, I believe is how that's pronounced. Again, fairly small communities. This is a rural part of Lincoln County once you get out of Fayetteville here along Highway 64. But again, near Boones Hill, and north of Fayetteville in particular, once you're in your tornado safe place for, again, the possibility this may produce a tornado. We can see if there's any sort of debris signature showing up with this. Not really seeing that, so that's a good sign. Means that we've got the rotation, we're picking that up, we're not seeing indications of anything on the ground. And we would, even though this is a rural area, it's also a heavily wooded area, so if there was anything tornado-wise on the ground, we would be seeing some indication of debris being lofted up in the form of trees, and at least at this point, not seeing that. Again, circulation showing up close to Boones Hill. This is, again, the radar out of Jackson County, where we've got this little notch here, kind of have that hook echo, and again, that's where, in general, the circulation is showing up at this time with this particular thunderstorm. And we will bring you that tornado watch as soon as it is issued. Basically, it's going to include all of North Alabama. All of North Alabama, all of southern Middle Tennessee will be included in that forthcoming tornado watch. So we're going to be under the threat everywhere, regardless of your location, as we anticipate more storms coming through. This is the wider view, and I'm going to pull up, you're going to see a lot of radar data come up here. I just want to kind of give you a heads up as to what we're looking at. What we've got right now, isolated. We've just got the one storm. Again, it may be interacting with a leftover boundary from the convection that we had earlier this morning. We'll have to wait and see if this activity in northeast Mississippi, Tupelo towards the state line, if that boundary is still there, what those storms will do as they start to interact with it. Otherwise, the main energy that is going to be driving the severe weather threat, really starting to show itself back here west of the Mississippi River. You see the storms lined up here in eastern Arkansas. We've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. Those are the yellow boxes. So pretty much all of these storms moving through eastern Arkansas between Little Rock and Memphis are severe warned at this time. And then also there is a storm out here towards Tupelo that we're going to have to keep an eye on. And if you've been watching the forecast the last couple of days, we told you that we were likely going to see one of two scenarios. One would be just a line of storms, and that would be it. And that was a given, that we were going to see a line come on through. The question was, would we see isolated storms, what we call discrete cells, develop ahead of the main developing line? That was kind of the question mark. Wasn't guaranteed that we would, but was a possibility. And I think we are seeing that as well. Back here from northeast Arkansas back to the east of Little Rock, this is going to be the main band of storms that forms and moves through, either a fairly solid line or several clusters kind of lined up in the same orientation. And then out ahead, these isolated discrete cells that are going to have to be watched. We've got one of those, again, east of Jackson near Lexington, Tennessee. and we've got another one back here west of Tupelo, and there will likely be more of these that get going. We'll see if these along the state line start to flare up like the one west of Tupelo did. It's these discrete storms out ahead of the main line that are going to have the higher tornado potential, particularly the greater threat of seeing perhaps a stronger tornado, because they're going to have all the fuel in the atmosphere all to themselves to work with and strengthen and organize. The line of storms, that's going to pose more of a damaging wind threat as it comes through, and that will be the end of everything. What we will have to watch, though, along the line doesn't negate the tornado risk. It just means the damaging wind threat becomes the predominant risk. But as you know, along these lines of storms, in the right environmental conditions, we can get some spin-ups, and we will have to watch for that. So even with this line as it comes through, regardless of what sort of shape it's in, if it's a solid line, broken line, it won't matter. We're going to have to monitor for some tornado potential for that. But again, it's the storms that develop out ahead of the main line that are kind of by themselves. They're going to have the greater risk for perhaps a more significant tornado threat. So we're going to be watching closely, particularly northeast Mississippi and anything else that may start to flare up here across northern Alabama as we work our way through the remainder of this afternoon and on into this evening. Let's get you back up here into Lincoln County, though. And we will, this is multiple radars looking at the same storm, so let's look at some individual radars. Again, this is the radar out of Jackson County. The storm is the back edge of it here near Boones Hill. Again, moving east-northeast, close call to Fayetteville, but I'm still optimistic this may stay a little north in town. But if you are just north of the center of town there in Fayetteville, once you're in your tornado shelter, that includes you folks in Howell, Boones Hill, stay in your shelter at least for a few minutes longer. If you're here near Harms, Tennessee, they're just south of Highway 64, once you're in your shelter. And then down the road here towards Mulberry, that's kind of where the tornado warning line ends. Also want you to be monitoring this storm and get ready to head to your shelter as it gets a little bit closer. Storm's not moving super fast. It's only moving at around 30 miles per hour, so you do have some time if you're in that northeast corner of Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee. Here is the latest on the wind velocity. Seeing that rotation showing up here. Again, a little east now of Cyruston. This is going to be passing near Harms. There you see the circulation showing up just south of Highway 64. We can zoom in a little closer and even pinpoint this. See some of the smaller roads here, old railroad bed road. This is Lincoln County, Tennessee, not Madison County. Old Elkton Pike, again, little east now of East Cyruston. Circulation again showing up here where looks like Pearl City is the community, I believe. Let me reorient the map. I think that's what that says. Near the Pearl City community here in Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee is where the current circulation is showing up. We can give you, there you saw the latest scan update. Notice it shifted a little more northeast. So again, that's why I think Fayetteville, we're probably going to be okay. The circulation has shifted, again, slightly east and northeast. Still here in the vicinity of Old Elkton Pike here in southern Middle Tennessee, near Harms, Tennessee, that community. And again, tracking east-northeast, it'll be close, moving close to where Old Elkton Pike intersects Highway 64 there in northern parts of Lincoln County. Again, just give you a different perspective here. This is our live radar out of Decatur. Still seeing, this is the precip mode, seeing that hook, which is basically the precip being wrapped around the circulation. So again, that is showing up near Harms. As we take a look at the wind velocity, not seeing significant circulation, but again, in that general area near Harms, If a tornado is going to develop, that's where it is going to be. Quick look here at our debris tracker, and again, I don't see anything really that's popping out at me right now that would suggest that there is anything that's on the ground. Similar situation here with the National Weather Service radar, but that is something that we are going to continue to watch. Again, that circulation showing up here close to harms in both radar instances. This image is going to be slightly behind our live radar because this updates every couple minutes where our live radar out of Decatur is live. So that's why you see a little bit of a difference where the hook is located, and that's because our live radar is just a little bit ahead of what the National Weather Service radar is showing. All right, checking. So someone in the Howell area said that they were able to see some rotation in a funnel. Let's go back here to the view. That area of Howell here, and probably would be a little difficult because Howell's kind of right in the heavy rain right now, but this person looking back into that southwest flank of the storm. So again, at least a visual report of seeing a little rotation and perhaps a funnel with this storm from the viewpoint of Howell there in southern Middle Tennessee. Again, let me pull back up our Decatur radar. And what we are seeing with it. There you see where the precip, again, close to harms, where the precip is wrapped around the circulation. We don't have a real definitive signal here in the wind velocity. Very, very subtle. So hopefully that's a good sign here as far as the potential that this is at least imminent producing a tornado. Again, here's Fayetteville. Circulation close to harms. Storm is moving east-northeast, so again, hopefully that's going to keep this just a little north of Fayetteville, but it is going to be a very, very close call as this one continues to come on through. So we're going to continue to monitor this. Again, if you are just north of Fayetteville, do want you to be headed to your tornado safe place. That includes if you're here along 231 going out of Fayetteville, the other highway here, where they split 231 and 431 north of Fayetteville. Want you in your tornado safe place. If you're anywhere here along US 64, and I believe it was Old Elkton Pike is the road, where that intersects near and east of harms, want you in your tornado safe place. Again, someone watching this storm reporting that they're seeing a little rotation in the clouds and perhaps a funnel as well being seen with this storm. So that definitely something just to be concerned about and aware of. Again, here's harms. In general, the rotation showing up in this area. There's the latest scan update, so maybe it's shifted now a little east of harms. Getting close to Fayetteville. I think if you folks are in Fayetteville, we may be seeing this storm turn. As I mentioned, that's something that it could do. So if you are in Fayetteville, this is still a few minutes out. I want you just to go ahead and head to your tornado safe place. The storm had been moving a little more northeast. Because of the rotation, we are seeing it turn a little bit more to the right. And so that may bring this a little bit closer to town. So just to be safe, if you're in Fayetteville, I want you to go ahead and head to your tornado safe place. Harms, you need to already be there. Storm is right on top of you, the most dangerous part of it. But again, you folks now in Fayetteville, I want you to go ahead to that tornado shelter. It's going to be the lowest level of the building that you're in, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Interior bathroom, interior closet, interior hallway is going to give you the best protection. So again, from Fayetteville northward, and then headed out here towards Mulberry. that's where the storm is going to be tracking. So we'll say basically the northern half here in Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee. I'm going to take a look at a couple other products here. This is the wind shear product. This gives us an idea. It's usually a minute or two behind, but it gives us an idea of where we're seeing rotation on radar. Basically, the radar, the computer algorithms are kind of looking at that, analyzing it, and then depicting where an area of rotation is. So again, that still appears to be near Harms, or at least it was a couple minutes ago. And again, this heading into the Fayetteville area. As far as hail goes, not a strong signal, but a little bit deeper into the precip core north of Harms. We may be looking at some hail, could be maybe penny, nickel sized. Right now not seeing anything more significant than that in the hail signature. But let's track this out again. The storm is starting to look a little bit more concerning here near Harms, starting to become more well-defined as far as one that would appear to be seeing an increase in rotation. We're going to track this whole area out now from Harms and a little more east, slightly north to east. Again, this will come very close to Fayetteville, more likely going across the north end of town and areas heading north out of Fayetteville than the exact center of town. But if you're anywhere in Fayetteville, I want you to go ahead and head to that tornado safe place. It will be there in about the next 5 or 6 minutes. Mulberry, a little bit past the top of the hour, around 3:08. That will bring it right to, close to, the Lincoln and Moore County line. And we'll have to wait and see if it continues. That could bring it not too far away from Lynchburg as well. But again, anywhere here from Fayetteville, how I think the circulation now is probably going to pass south of you, but heavy rain, lightning, and maybe some hail up in that direction. Boonville, just want you in your safe place just to be on the safe side. And again, anywhere from Boonville down to Mulberry, back to Fayetteville, and points north here, almost to Howe, get in your tornado safe place for, again, the possibility that this perhaps producing a tornado. It is starting to look a little more concerning here on the radar view. Let's take a look here at the rotation within the thunderstorm. We do have some bad data when you get these little purple splotches. That's some bad data, but we do get the general idea here. Circulation showing up close to Harms, and again, moving east and slightly north of east, but this is going to bring it across now, it looks like, part of the city of Fayetteville from near the center of town, the downtown area, and points northward. So need you in your tornado safe place in these areas. We don't have any reports. That continues to look a little more concerning. Let's see here. Just the tornado warning does continue until 3. I'm confident it's going to be extended beyond that. So tornado warning goes until 3. I think we are going to see another warning that will be issued that will continue to carry this across Lincoln County and likely extend the warning downstream into Moore County as well there in southern Middle Tennessee. That, though, just outside of our coverage area. But if you know folks up towards and south of Lynchburg, might just want to give them a heads up that this is headed their way, and there's a good chance that a tornado warning is going to be issued downstream from this that may include the Lynchburg area and points southward. Let me take a look here. This is going to be our debris tracker. Again, nothing that jumps out at the moment. Closely monitoring, though. Take this back in time. This is really starting to look a little bit more concerning. Where you see this notch, it's where we're seeing air pulled into the storm, being wrapped around, well-defined, what we call a hook echo here. And again, this is tracking east and a little north of east. So again, Fayetteville, particularly from the center of town northward, I want you in your tornado shelter for, again, the possibility this may produce a tornado as it is coming through. going to stick with this for the time being. There's the latest update. Okay, latest update looked a little bit better. But still, seeing that hook, seeing the inflow here, again, this is now going across the north side of Fayetteville and points northward up here towards Highway 431, 231, where they split north of town. And this will continue to track here near and north of Fayetteville and through the northeastern corner of Lincoln County. Again, if you hear towards Mulberry, this is where this storm is tracking next. And the latest scan update looked a little bit less concerning. And let's pull up our Decatur radar. It's starting to get a little bit too far away from our Decatur radar, but we're still seeing it right here. Again, this is now going across the north end of Fayetteville. Your greens are blowing towards the radar. The red colors are away, counterclockwise rotation. We're seeing this on the north side of Fayetteville. Basically, the rotation is now right between Highway 431 and Highway 231 there in Fayetteville, at least according to our Decatur radar. What I'm not seeing, though, in the debris tracker is anything that would suggest that we have something on the ground. Again, our Decatur radar, there you saw the latest update. It is showing that area rotation. Now it looks like it has crossed Highway 231. Again, this is Fayetteville, center of town, so this is just north. Still seeing that circulation. Again, just now off of Highway 231. Let's focus in a little closer. There's 231 just north of town. No major roads showing up on the map here. So again, hopefully fairly rural area where it is tracking. If you're in Fayetteville, still want you to stay in your shelter a little bit longer. There's the latest scan update. Kind of losing the signal a little bit. Still showing up here close. North and northeast of Fayetteville. Again, this is using our live radar out of Decatur. This is the National Weather Service radar. It's fairly close as well. Again, showing the inflow here, what we call the inflow notch. That's where air is being pulled into the storm, creates that shape, and then the rotation associated with the storm wraps the precip around the backside of that. And it's that change in the wind direction where air is being pulled in from the south and the southeast into the storm, and then the rain-cooled air coming from more of a northerly direction, again, where you get that rotation. So often it's fairly close to where we see these notches on the radar where we have the spin. And as we look at the rotation here, it has broadened out a bit from the National Weather Service radar. It's not kind of concentrated in a small area, but still seeing it here. Green is towards the radar, red is away. So again, in the vicinity, right off of 231, just north of Fayetteville is where we're seeing the rotation. It's what we call broad at this point. It's not concentrated in a small area, but it's still obviously there. So this storm is still rotating.
And they did extend the tornado warning as well.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. Thank you, Amber. So the tornado warning now has been extended. Fairly broad area. Obviously, the storm won't take up this much real estate, but given that there could be some adjustments in the exact track of it, whether it's more northeast, whether it does take more of a right turn, that's why the tornado polygon is so large here that covers Moore County. Again, the circulation is beginning to pull away from you folks in Fayetteville. But stay in your shelter a few more minutes if you're in Fayetteville. I want you to stay there just a few more minutes. This is tracking east-northeast. If you are towards Mulberry in particular, I need you in your safe place if you're not there. Possible that the circulation with this storm is probably going to stay a little south of Lynchburg. If you've traveled this route up before into Moore County, there's Lynchburg and then there's not a whole lot else. So a lot of this is going to be fairly rural. As you head east of Mulberry and south of Lynchburg. But again, if you are in this area, do need you to seek shelter for, again, the possibility of a tornado. That tornado warning has been extended. There's your latest scan update. And still showing that telltale hook. Looks like a fish hook. That's why it's called a hook echo. It is one thing that we look for in the radar pattern. And then we kind of match that up with the velocity. But that's your first sign. When you see a storm that looks like this and has that hook on the southwestern edge of the storm, that southwestern flank, that is usually a sign that the storm is rotating. And when you match that up with the velocity, indeed, that's what we see. Radar can determine, is the wind blowing toward me or is it the wind blowing away from me? Green represents wind blowing towards the radar. Reds represent wind blowing away. So if you line that up here, red's away, green is toward, counterclockwise rotation. And that's what most tornadoes spin, is in a counterclockwise direction. The vast majority of them will do that. So that's what we're seeing here. Again, Fayetteville, think you're okay now. The most dangerous part of the storm is now pulling away from town. But next up, if you're in Mulberry, if you are north of Kelso, Tennessee, this is probably going to stay a little north of Kelso, but if you are just north of there and near and south of Mulberry, need you in your tornado safe place for, again, this area rotation that we are tracking across this portion of Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee. Still not seeing any indications of anything on the ground. What will we look for? What catches our eye? This big area of red, if you saw a drop in the colors, anything in the greens and the yellows and even the whites, right smack in the middle of the red, that would be an indication of debris. So at least we are not seeing that at this point in time with this particular thunderstorm. But again, it is rotating. We are in a atmospheric setup this afternoon that storms could produce tornadoes. Again, it appears we've already had one with this same exact storm back when it was in northwest Alabama, going from Colbert and into Lauderdale County. We are fairly confident that a tornado touched down there just from a photo that was shared showing a funnel coming down to the ground. So this storm has produced at least one tornado during its life cycle. So if it produces one, it means it's capable of producing another. Again, Fayetteville, let me change the perspective here. There you saw the latest update from the Weather Service radar. Again, Fayetteville, the storm pulling away from you, so if you've taken shelter in Fayetteville, you are okay to get out of shelter. There's nothing back behind this coming in at the moment. This storm is going to continue. It did turn a little bit, so it was moving northeast, turned a little bit to the right. Now it looks like it may be turning back more northeast on the track. That is going to bring it close to Mulberry. The fact that maybe it's turning back more to the left, that's usually an indication that the rotation perhaps is weakening with this storm. But still, there is that continued threat. Again, we're not seeing anything real definitive here. This is broad rotation. Looks like it's right along Tennessee. This is Tennessee 50. Tennessee Highway 50 is where the circulation is showing up. Northeast now of Fayetteville, and going to be very close to running right along Tennessee Highway 50 towards Mulberry. So if you're in this area, need you in your shelter. Douglas, looks like the rotation will stay a little north of you. Similar situation if you're in Kelso, Tennessee. This is going to pass to your north. But if you are up towards Mulberry, do want to make sure that you are in your tornado safe place. Again, that is what is next up, the next biggest community that will be impacted by this storm. And again, the possibility of a tornado. Perhaps. Again, the rotation looks like it's weakened a bit. We're not even getting as much lightning out of this. There was just one strike you saw there. It looks like another one up towards the Boonville area. But even this storm has kind of trended downward a bit in lightning activity, but it is still rotating and still perhaps could be capable of producing a tornado. Let's see. No updates here on the storm. That's a good thing. Usually if there's an update on a storm, it's a bad thing. So the fact that there are no updates, there are no reports of any sort of damage, no more visual reports on this storm. And again, it is moving away from Fayetteville right now. And as I say, you're safe to come out in Fayetteville. There's nothing back to your west or southwest. On a lot of severe weather days, we have a lot of storms out there. Let me just kind of reset the view here. And again, if you're in that northeastern part of Lincoln County towards Mulberry, I still want you staying in your shelter. Showing you the wider view here, we do have more storms here, southern middle Tennessee, and it even looks like here west of Columbia, a new tornado warning, and the purple box indicates a confirmed tornado, either confirmed by radar or confirmed visually by spotters. But again, this activity is moving mostly east and northeast, so this will stay just to the north. So what we're going to be focused on here for the rest of this afternoon, anything new that develops here in northwestern Alabama, and also any activity that develops back into Mississippi that is going to be coming in our direction. So let's briefly talk about that, and then I will get back into Lincoln County and we'll give you another update here. We do have some storms. I hesitate to call them storms because I've not really seen any lightning here, but some heavier showers are developing right along the state line west of the shoals. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for a storm here northwest of Tupelo. So let me track that out for you. I'm going to pull up some different radar information. Closest radar to this is likely going to be out of Columbus, Mississippi. This is an organized storm near New Albany, Mississippi, crossing Interstate 22 there, northwest of Tupelo. Moving its way, again, that general direction, that's where we're going to see most of these storms move, is off to the northeast. The ones that have strong rotation will turn and move a little bit more easterly through the area. But just to give you an early heads up, you folks here in Colbert, Lauderdale County, on this track, and if this storm holds together, it is going to be entering the northwest corner of the state and out towards the shoals. Showers that we have out here, looks like we do have a couple lightning strikes near Iuka with that little thunder shower. But again, we do have one that has a severe thunderstorm warning here back off towards New Albany in Mississippi. So this is just to give you an early heads up for you folks here in Colbert, Lauderdale County. I know you had storms earlier. It'll be in Iuka around 4:37, and passing through the Cherokee area is still a ways out. This will be close to maybe 5 o'clock before it makes it into western and northwestern parts of Colbert County, and maybe a little bit sooner than that, depending on the track here in this northwestern corner of Lauderdale County. But that one still a good almost 2 hours out from hitting the state line. But we'll keep an eye on that, and of course anything else that may develop, particularly if these storms north of Red Bay near Iuka, if these start to flare up a little bit more, we'll have to watch for that as well. But otherwise, the most organized storm back towards New Albany, Mississippi, that one's still, like I said, a good hour and a half to 2 hours from reaching the state line. All right, let's get you back into Lincoln County and show you the latest particulars on our storm here. Again, Fayetteville, most dangerous part of the storm, has moved away, so you are safe to get out of your shelter there in Fayetteville. I'm going to change the radar view. And the storm is bearing down on Mulberry, basically tracking right along Tennessee Highway 50 here in Lincoln County, Tennessee. Again, near Mulberry is where this is going to be going, and then it will move out of our coverage area into Moore County in southern middle Tennessee. But again, if you know folks near and south of Lynchburg, might want to give them a heads up, because that tornado warning does include that area of Moore County. Still seeing, just looking at the radar, it's suspect, not as well defined as when this storm was near and a little west of Fayetteville. We're still seeing at least some signs that there is rotation happening here on the southwest flank of it, southwest of Mulberry. But again, not quite as well defined or concerning as what we saw earlier. Still some rotation. Again, the green's towards the radar. Red color is away. Broad area rotation showing up here, heading into Mulberry. So again, I need you in your safe place in Mulberry. If you're over here towards Gaddistown, again, right along the Lincoln-Moore County line here, southern Middle Tennessee, want you in your shelter. Again, not super concerned that we have anything tornado-wise imminent. The rotation is broad. There's the latest scan update. Now looks like it's coming past Mulberry as this storm continues to track its way off to the north and east. And again, that's going to take it into Moore County, Tennessee here fairly soon. Again, this is the latest radar perspective where the rotation is. That's why it has that look on the southwest flank. That's because the precip is being wrapped around where the circulation is showing up, where the wind velocities are coming together there in different directions. And again, very close to Mulberry. So I need you in your shelter in Mulberry, and points off to the east of there, headed towards the county line here, heading into Moore County in southern Middle Tennessee. Again, this circulation that we are picking up going to be just south, it looks like, of Tennessee Highway 50 is going to be the general track. Again, Fayetteville, storm is out of your area. You are good to go for the time being, at least from this storm. And we'll wait and see what the rest of this afternoon brings here across the area. Again, no updates, not getting any reports of damage or anything like that, so that's a good thing. We are also anticipating that a tornado watch is going to be issued soon for those of you just joining us. For all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee. That will be coming out probably fairly soon, I would expect.
Tornado watch is already out for
It
all
is.
of us.
Okay, okay. All right. Then let's take a look at that. Do we have an updated graphic?
Yes.
We do? Okay. In fact, why don't we go over to Amber? I'll let her pull that up and kind of run through that for you.
Yeah, so here we go, the entire viewing area under that tornado watch as we head into the evening hours tonight. That will run until 10 p.m. and again covers all of us in North Alabama, covers Lincoln County in southern Tennessee as well. So we have a couple more hours here ahead of us for these storms before they move in. But here's what we're looking at right now on 31 triple Doppler. And again, just one warning, that tornado warning up in Lincoln County, Tennessee. For the rest of us, now if we're not talking about you, it's a good thing. We just have some showers starting to pop up in portions of the shoals and then into Lawrence County as well, looking at some shower activity. So far, so good with those though. We're not seeing any severe weather come out of those just yet, but they are starting to strengthen a little bit over towards the shoals, starting to get a little lightning with these as they move towards Alabama. So we will have to keep an eye on these as they head towards Cherokee, right now near Iuka and Tishomingo County in Mississippi. So we'll keep an eye on those little thunderstorms over the next little bit here. But other than that, everyone else still relatively quiet. If you're over in Sand Mountain, you have yet to really see anything this afternoon, but your time will be coming because we are watching for that line that will move in later on this evening, and it's where you see all those yellow boxes. That's those severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's ahead of that main line. And as that line moves through, it's going to take the severe weather threat with it, but it's going to be a couple of hours before it gets through the Tennessee Valley. So we'll have to continue to watch all these storms that pop up over the next little bit here, Jeff.
All right, thank you, Amber, for that update. Again, the main thing we're looking at here, Lincoln into Moore County. The storm is almost into Moore County. And as it continues to pull away here from Lincoln County, we're likely going to go back to regular programming as soon as that happens. I am expecting that the National Weather Service is probably going to do an update on this. Still, officially, the tornado warning does include the Fayetteville area, but I think that'll be trimmed a little bit more. And again, this storm will be moving into areas of Moore County, and you see Franklin County, Tennessee also included. Again, that is just outside of our coverage area. But again, if you do know folks over here into Franklin County towards Winchester, points westward, may just want to give them a heads up on this storm that it is tracking in that direction. But let's kind of get in here with the latest radar update. And again, what we're looking at here, This is our first visual sign when you're looking at the precip on the radar. Anytime you see what looks to be a fish hook, we call that a hook echo, you usually see it on the south or southwest flank of the storm. That's an indication that there is rotation. There you saw the latest scan update. For you folks in Mulberry that have been taking shelter, it appears that this is now east of you. So if you have been in shelter in Mulberry, safe to come out now. Again, same for Fayetteville. Next update that we'll get on this storm, it will trim the tornado warning box that will clear out places like Fayetteville and probably Mulberry as well. But again, the rotation is now showing up. It appears just a little east and southeast of Mulberry. But let's get in a little closer here. Storm's not particularly electrical. There is some lightning with it, but not necessarily prolific. But the storm does continue to show some rotation with it. It's not super well defined. It's a little bit green towards, red's away. So again, close to Gaddistown is where we are seeing still some of that rotation. And the storm is getting a little closer to where the radar is located. Again, this is National Weather Service radar out of Jackson County in High Top. So that's where the radar is. Storm's getting closer. That also means that the radar is scanning lower and lower in the storm. And the fact that as it's getting closer, we're seeing that rotation signature become a little less defined is a good sign. That means the storm is rotating a little bit higher up, but not necessarily super close to the ground. So again, it is good to see that. But again, the storm has cycled. There have been times where the storm looked kind of ominous, and again, it did produce a tornado. It produced a tornado a little bit earlier today. In fact, I want to show you where this storm has come and gone. We're going to take you back a few hours. You can see where the storm is now, again, east of Fayetteville. But you're going to see it tracked all the way from the state line here in the last few hours. So we're going to take this back in time. This has been a persistent storm. And we lose the data there. But this is back towards 12:30, same storm. This produced a tornado in between Waterloo and Cherokee. From the picture I saw, it looked like the funnel was maybe right over the Tennessee River. And again, this storm has persisted. And storms in this sort of environment, they do that. They can last for a long period of time. They can produce multiple tornadoes. At least thus far, we only know that this produced one, even though there have been tornado warnings associated with it. But you can see the storm has held together all the way here across southern Middle Tennessee. Again, Mulberry, the worst part of the storm has passed you. It's right on the Lincoln-Moore County line. It's going to be passing south of Lynchburg. So Lynchburg, I think we're going to be okay here. Storm is mostly moving east-northeast. That's going to take it over, gosh, I can't remember. Do you know what the lake is here in Franklin County? Is it Timms Ford Lake? Does that sound right? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. But it is going to be approaching the lake here off to the west of Winchester. So if you know folks maybe that are out here on the water and maybe they don't have access to weather information, might want to give them a heads up here. Again, west of Winchester. Might want to give them a heads up that this storm is tracking. It's going to be going right over the lake here as it continues across Moore and on into Franklin County. Again, this is heading outside of our typical coverage area, but you may want to give the folks there a little bit of a heads up. And farther down the road, this will track perhaps near Winchester, maybe as far north as Estill Springs. Again, let's just kind of track it all for you in that general direction. I'll try to get both of those communities in here. Just to give you a time of arrival. Winchester area by 3:47, so about 30 minutes or so from now. that's when that storm would be coming through the Winchester area. Deckard, Tennessee, be around 350. So that is where this is headed next. Southern Moore County, south of Lynchburg, and then it's going to be headed into Franklin County in southern Middle Tennessee towards Winchester, and it appears time of arrival would bring it there in about 30 minutes or so. Again, we've not gotten any reports. Seeing a few pictures here. So the Lincoln County Emergency Management Office sharing a picture of what looks like a lowering. So this was taken from the EMA office there in Fayetteville that I'm seeing. I don't know if we can share this on air, but this was shared, that I'm seeing this in our communication with the National Weather Service. This was shared by the Lincoln County EMA. So looks like what they showed was some sort of lowering associated with this storm as it passed there just north of downtown Fayetteville. So again, I mean, the storm definitely has structure to it. Potentially could produce a tornado. Again, we've not gotten any reports of that. And it is heading now pretty much into Moore County here in southern Middle Tennessee. So out of Lincoln County, passing south of Lynchburg, again, perhaps making its way towards Winchester. Winchester, you're not officially, and neither is Estill Springs, not officially in the tornado warning area. If the warning is extended in space and time, you will be. But for now, this is going across southern parts of Moore County and will be headed into portions of Franklin County there in southern Middle Tennessee. Let me do one last check here on the wind velocity. And we're still seeing rotation. It's fairly broad, not concentrated in one area. But again, that south of Lynchburg is where it's going. So Lynchburg, things will be fine there. And again, this is going to continue to track its way towards Franklin County in southern Middle Tennessee. Again, this is all just outside of our coverage area. So with that in mind, we're going to continue to watch this and, of course, any new development that happens. But we're going to go ahead and go back to regular programming since this is technically out of our television coverage area across Moore and heading into Franklin County in southern Middle Tennessee. But again, if you know folks up here, particularly towards Winchester, Estill Springs, close enough call, even though the storm isn't showing signs of significant rotation, there does remain the possibility that this could produce a tornado. So we're going to continue to watch this. We're going to continue to watch new storms that either develop or come in from the west. Again, tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m. for all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee. And of course, we'll continue to provide you updates here, of course, on air. And we'll have our 4 o'clock newscast actually coming up here in about 40 minutes. So we're going to have the latest information coming up then as well. For now, though, we're going to send it back to regular programming. For meteorologist Amber Kulik, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle. We're going to continue to watch the storms this afternoon. And again, a full update coming up at 4 o'clock, and we will see you then.
This has been a 31 Alert Day weather update. We now return to your regular programming.